Yes, indeed. It is an all-star edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull on a Tuesday, and a lot to get to today. Yes, there are not many sports going on. It's the all-star break week. I'll be honest. I can't stand all the all-star games. The home run derby yesterday, who cares? And, man, I get worked up about ridiculous stuff. People getting worked up about the Schwarber-Pujols thing. I don't even know what to say about that, but I'll try a little later. I'll get to it. But first, I got a lot to talk about when it comes to Deshaun Watson and his future with the Cleveland Browns. But before we get to that, let me tell you that today's episode of The Bullpen with Adam the Bull is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. And where does the show start? It starts with Deshaun Watson. That's coming up next, right here on The Bullpen with Adam the Bull.
Podcast is not for the faint of heart.
And I do think it's time for the Browns to move on.
It's not for those who ride the fence.
He's proven nothing.
But if you're looking for someone who tells it like it is about Cleveland sports,
everybody does fandom their way.
You've come to the right place.
I don't think he's any good.
It's time for the Bullpen with Adam the Bull.
Bow, 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 bow. So I got a lot to talk about today, even though let's face it, it's the deadest sports week of the year. And that's why I'm here to entertain you, because there's no sports to watch. Again, I'm sure some of you watch the Home Run Derby, and I'll talk about my disdain for it coming up later, and All-Star games as well. I don't care who won the Home Run Derby. I watched Jose Ramirez just because he's, a Guardian. And I shut it off after Pujols versus Schwarber. I didn't care. I'll get to it later. But I got to begin with Deshaun Watson, because if you watched yesterday's, I guess it depends when you're watching this. If you watch Monday's, I should say, Monday the 18th edition of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, the first half hour of the show got very feisty, very testy. There was a lot of arguing. There was a lot of talking over. There was a lot of cutting off. That's something we don't do a lot of. I'm someone who can get fired up, and I cut people off sometimes, no doubt. But because we don't take calls like I did on the old radio show, I don't do a lot of that when we're, debating each other or whatever. And we like to have thoughtful arguments, and at times I think our arguments got maybe, I went back home after the show and I rewatched the show, and I particularly focused on the first 30, 40 minutes just to see, were we talking over each other too much? And I'm sure most of you that watch and listen to the podcast are viewers of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. And I thought, because our producer, we were talking about it. He thought we kind of went off the rails a little bit. We weren't able to complete points because guys were cutting each other off a lot. And I went back and watched, and there was some of that, and there was some good conversation there. And I thought about this conversation, and obviously, we don't want to get to the point on our show where we're talking over each other and you folks can't hear what we're trying to get to, because we're here to entertain you. And I'm sure a lot of people were entertained by the arguing. You want to be able to get your points in and not talk over each other. I get that. And I thought about, what led us to get so kind of crazy. Part of it is, I think, Jay was kind of alone on an island to some degree. I mean, Jason was defending him on some of his points. The whole conversation, let me go back to the beginning, because not all of you watch the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Even if you watch it, you might not have watched it on Monday. So right before we went on the air on Monday, Jason Lloyd, who was in as the fifth chair on Monday, made the comment that, man, if Deshaun Watson gets suspended for a year, the trade's a disaster. In terms of that the Browns wouldn't have given up as much as they did. And this led into a whole argument. It began with that part of the conversation. Listen, Deshaun Watson, when he's been on the field, has been an excellent quarterback. There's no debating that. You could find whatever stats you want. We could go over his record. Yeah, his overall record could be good, could be better. He hasn't won a lot of playoff games. He's only played 3 seasons. He played 4, his rookie year only played 6 games, and then he played 3 full seasons after that. If you've watched Deshaun Watson play, if you've studied the analytics on Deshaun Watson's game, if you look at the fact that he had very little talent around him, yet took his team to the playoffs 2 out of 3 years, Deshaun Watson is an excellent quarterback. Now, there's a number of excellent quarterbacks, 5, 6, 7 excellent, what I think are excellent quarterbacks in the NFL, and a lot of the others are more accomplished than Deshaun Watson. They've played more in many cases. They've won more in most cases. So Deshaun Watson clearly has some more to prove. There's no debate about who's the better player between Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield. That's not a conversation. He's significantly better. Anybody that knows the game knows Deshaun Watson is significantly better. And so the initial argument on the air was about, is the trade a disaster if Deshaun Watson doesn't play this year, or because they gave up so much? And unless Deshaun Watson wins the Super Bowl this season, you can't judge this trade based on 1 year. Yes, you made the trade thinking he could help you win this year. And yes, that may not happen. And yes, in theory, if you knew he was going to miss a whole year, which I don't think he will, but if he does, then yeah, you probably would not have had to give up quite as much. Maybe you would have given up 2 first-round picks instead of 3. I don't know. But as I said today, and I just don't get how everybody doesn't get this. I think most people do. And it doesn't necessarily matter. You give up what you have. There's no price too big to pay for a great quarterback. See, in my opinion, and clearly in the Browns' opinion, you can't win a Super Bowl with an average or below quarterback. And I don't say this because I hate Baker or whatever. I mean, I don't like Baker that much. I'm not rooting for him to do well. But I keep that out of this. The reality is that Baker Mayfield is not that good a quarterback. He's at best average. His track record of 4 years tells you that. Completion percentage, bottom third of the league. Turnovers, number 1. Interceptions, number 2. He's got a losing record. I don't usually bring up record in comparing quarterbacks, but if you want to, he's got a losing record. He's not a particularly good athlete at the position. He's in the bottom half of the league at the very least. So what is he good at? What does he do well? Yes, he won your first playoff game in forever, and for that, some Browns fans have undying loyalty. I get it to a degree, but don't be unrealistic about what Baker Mayfield is. And so first, this became so ultimately, in my opinion, the Browns had no chance to win a Super Bowl over the next few years with Baker Mayfield. So even if Deshaun Watson misses the whole year, the trade's worth it, or probably will be worth it. To me, the only way the trade you could argue is not worth it is if he doesn't play, or he's awful when he does play. And none of that can be determined based on one season. Yes, they wanted him to help them this year, but they gave him an extension for a reason, because they want him to be here for a while. Deshaun Watson's a top 10 quarterback. Baker Mayfield is not. There's no debate on that. You can't make an argument against that. It's really that simple. With Deshaun Watson, you've got a legitimate shot when he's on the field to win a Super Bowl. With Baker, you don't. Not in this AFC. Not in this NFL. You have to dominate in the passing game to win. That's the way the league is. Every rule is made to help the offense. You can't touch the quarterback. You can't touch the receivers. You've got to be able to throw the ball. And in this league, where you have, in this AFC, when you are loaded with quarterbacks, from Burrow and Lamar, Allen and Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, just to name a few. I mean, I name a few. I just named 8 guys. 7 guys, 8 guys. I don't know the exact number. Those quarterbacks are all way better than Baker Mayfield. They had to get better. The draft was not an option because there was nobody good in the draft. Deshaun Watson is the best option. Now, if you're turned off by the off-field accusations, there's nothing I can do. You're entitled to believe what you want. You're entitled to feel who you want. I'm not telling you that. All I'm saying is the trade was made because he's a much better quarterback. It's that simple. So in the end, whether they gave up 2 or 3 first-round picks, who gives a rat's ass? I can't believe we even debated that part of it. Now, in defense of Jay, and I know I saw some reaction on Twitter. People were mad because Jay was defending Baker. Jay likes Baker, and Jay was, it was kind of 3 against 1 in that argument. And that's a tough position to be in for him. But to me, it's just clear as day. I just don't get it. The debate about there's no debate. I don't know why I keep saying there's a debate. There is none. The only question now is how soon are we going to see Deshaun Watson? But this idea that the Browns gave up too much. First of all, if Deshaun Watson does win a Super Bowl, you give up 15 first-round picks. Who cares? Let's see, 3 random guys in the middle of the first round. You're worried about a third one because Deshaun Watson might miss extra time this year? Just think about that. Every year, half the first-round picks are nothing. They're just guys or worse or busts, at least half. But the Browns gave up some huge haul. They've killed their future. I don't see it. I do trust their GM. They got the best possible quarterback they could. There's going to be some bumps along the road. He is going to miss some time this year. It could end up being significant time. It could possibly end up being the entire year. But you don't win a championship sitting on the sidelines. The Browns have been trying. Browns have had no playoff success, right? In forever. Why? I mean, there's a lot of reasons in the Browns' case, but the biggest reason is they haven't had a quarterback. And mediocrity is not good enough. And with Baker, that's the best you would get. And yeah, were there moments where he was better than that? Sure. He had some tremendous games as a rookie. Had some tremendous games in 2020. But they were few and far between. They overall weren't against good teams. He never came through in the clutch. He threw too many picks and interceptions. He can't help himself with his legs, and he's not accurate. So why the hell would I stick with Baker? What can I point to besides the one playoff win that some fans are treating as if he's the next coming? I don't get it. I mean, I do. I get it, but you got to get over it. I can't believe we argued about that again today on the show, or yesterday, I should say. I can't believe it. And when a player has been good one place, until he's good in your place, you want to see him prove it. That I get. And if Deshaun Watson comes to the Browns, and when he finally gets in a game, whether that's week 1, whatever week it is, could be till 2023. And if it is 2023, he would have sat 2 years, and he might be rusty, and he might not look that. I don't know. Maybe he's going to not be good. But everything I saw from this guy in, I don't know how many NFL games he's played, 38, 54, I think, 55, 53, something like that. 50-something. That I actually have it right in front of me. Why don't I just look it up instead of guessing? He's played 50. He's played 53 NFL games, 54 NFL games. He started 53. And everything I've seen from this guy on the field, 104 touchdowns and only 36 picks. I mean, he's averaged 270 yards per game, a quarterback rating of 104.5. And that's playing with a team with a terrible offensive line, with a terrible running game. In his last year where the team really struggled, he had no wide receivers. He did have DeAndre Hopkins his first 3 years, his first 38 games of his 54. Bad defense, bad talent, and he got sacked 174 times. Again, that's over 3 sacks per game. He comes to the Browns. He's got a significantly better offensive line, a significantly better running game, better tight ends. better wide receivers than the Texans had last year, at least. Certainly not better than what they had with DeAndre Hopkins. An excellent defense. A guy I think is a good coach. And what is Deshaun Watson? Unlike Baker, he's not turnover prone. Unlike Baker, he's accurate. Unlike Baker, he's an excellent athlete. I gave you the numbers there of 104 touchdowns and 36 picks. That's not including his rushing touchdowns. He had another 17 rushing touchdowns. So rushing, receiving total, 121 touchdowns in 53 NFL starts. That's 2.5 per game. 2.5 touchdowns per game. You win a lot of football games scoring 2.5 touchdowns a game just involving your quarterback. 2.5. That's a lot. But, all right, let me take a break. When I come back, I got a few more things on Deshaun Watson. I'm going to get to the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby and everybody being worked up about that as well. That's all coming up. But first, I want to let you know that betonline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's playoffs for Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your for podcasts and news this season. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. And I'm going to get back right here. So I understand that some fans, so I was getting to the point of some fans like, well, he was good there, but let's see him prove it. Let's see him win. Yes, he does have a lot to prove. He's got to prove that he's not the guy he's being accused of being. He's got to prove he can win when it matters in the postseason. Now, in fairness, he's only been played 3 seasons. First his rookie year, he only played 6 games or 7 games, 6 starts. And his past year, he sat out. So he's only had 3 opportunities. He did make the playoffs twice, but he only won 1 game. That's not good enough. We didn't bring him to Cleveland and win 1 playoff game. The expectations are high, and they should be. I don't agree that if they don't win the Super Bowl with him, that the trade's a disaster. But there's no doubt it's a disappointment. They traded for Deshaun Watson because they thought he could win a Super Bowl for them. And if he doesn't, it's going to be disappointing. Now, if he has a bunch of long playoff runs, wins a ton of games, goes to the Super Bowl, wins 10, 12 playoff games over the years here in Cleveland, I doubt I'll be calling the trade a disaster. But ultimately, the goal with Deshaun Watson has changed for the whole team. The goal is to win a Super Bowl. The Browns are a capable team to win the Super Bowl. They have the roster to do it with Deshaun Watson. I don't think there's any doubt about it. And so anything short of that will be disappointing. But to me, there's a big difference between disappointing and disastrous trade. That's a huge difference. To me, the trade's a disaster if he gets in further trouble, he doesn't play, he's hurt all the time, or he's just terrible when he's on the field. That's a disaster. But even then, ultimately, the Cleveland Browns as an organization, whoever ultimately decided it, whether it's Jimmy or Barry or Stefanski or a combo of the group, they decided we have to get in the game. We can't win a Super Bowl with Baker. So ultimately, what do they have to lose? If you had no chance to win with Baker, if you believe that, and I do, and they must, then you did what it takes. Then you do whatever it takes to get a quarterback that gives you that real opportunity. And that's what they've done here. And even if it ends up with the worst case scenario, I still won't blame. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't think it'll happen. But even if it does, I still wouldn't blame them for taking that shot. I know I'll be in the minority there. And people be crushing them. And maybe deservedly so. But I won't be amongst them. And I hope Deshaun Watson gets on the field and proves all the doubters wrong and shuts them the hell up. And I think he will. We're still waiting. Obviously, any day now, we could hear from Judge Robinson and, get her ruling. But for now, we just continue to sit and wait. But someday, Deshaun Watson will hit that field. And even those who are nervous, even those who wanted Baker to stay, Even those who say, well, as Jay brings up all the time, what's his record? What's his playoffs? You'll see him on the field, and you're going to all get excited. And not that there's so many naysayers. I think anybody that knows anything about football knows how talented Deshaun Watson is. But until you see him play for your team in your uniform and go out there and win big games and make big plays in big spots, big moments late in the game, when you see that, then for those who have yet to flick that switch to get all on board the Watson train, I think the rest of you will come around. And for me personally, I can't wait to see it. I'm sick of debating with him the nonsense what they should have kept Baker. I'm sick of talking about how much they should or shouldn't have traded for him. I'm sick of talking about his potential suspension. I want to talk about him being on the field. The NFL season is right around the corner. The Hall of Fame game is 2 weeks away and change? Training camp starting in a week and change? It's all happening. Soon enough, the Browns will hit that field. Hopefully, Deshaun Watson will be with them. Hopefully, his suspension, if there is one, will be short, and we can get back to the business of trying to win football games because the Browns have everything they need if Watson is eligible to win a Super Bowl. And that's the first time I've ever been able to say that about the Cleveland Browns. I made my debut doing sports talk in Utica, New York in the summer. It was May of 2002. So I just celebrated 20 years doing sports talk. I did some play-by-play, obviously, before that, as I've talked about before. But 20 years of doing sports talk, I've never once said the Browns have everything they need to win a Super Bowl. Well, now with Deshaun Watson, they do. They do. They've got all the pieces. Are there holes? Sure. But everybody's got some. But the Browns have less than most teams. They need Deshaun. They can't win it without him. Jacoby Brissett plays the whole season. The Browns aren't going anywhere. If Deshaun's suspended for 8 games, it makes it a challenge. It makes it much harder to make the playoffs, especially in an absolutely loaded AFC. And that's why, ultimately, the Browns did what they did and took the risk and took the baggage because they looked at all the great quarterbacks in this conference, maybe like we've never seen before, including in this division where Joe Burrow just took a Bengals team that had been under 500 a bunch of years in a row to the Super Bowl, where the Steelers, I don't believe in them, but they never stay bad for long. And the Baltimore Ravens have an exciting young quarterback who's won an MVP. Now, he's been disappointing the last 2 years, but he's still pretty good and pretty dangerous. The Browns had to act. They did, and I got zero problem with it. And I'm just ready to see him play. All right, I'm taking another break. When I come back, got to get to this home run derby. I hate the home run derby. I used to be into it. I'm so bored by it now. I saw some interesting suggestions about how to improve it. And the only reason I watched some of it is because of Jose Ramirez. I just wanted to see him, the local guy. And then when he got eliminated, I was like, okay. Well, then I watched Pujols and Schwarber and that whole thing. And people got so worked up. I'm going to get to that next. That's coming up right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull. It's a weird thing about water. Sometimes, I don't know if people have experienced this. Sometimes I drink a glass of water and I'm almost like, oh, it tastes amazing. It's almost like it has some sort of flavor. It doesn't, of course, but it just like goes down so smoothly. I don't know what it is. And other times I drink water, I'm like, ugh. And it could be the same. It's not even like, well, I get, filtered water one place and bottled water, whatever, but it's just like my own water. I could drink it one day. It tastes great. I don't know. That's enough about water. Begrudgingly, I'm going to talk about the home run derby here. So last night in the home run derby, I find the home run derby terribly boring. I think 3 minutes is too much time. It used to be longer. It was even worse. It was impressive in the first round when Julio Rodriguez hit the 36 homers. But Jose Ramirez got eliminated. Juan Soto beat him on the last pitch. It was the last pitch as time was expiring. Jose hit right-handed. He's got better power left-handed. I think he's probably trying to protect that injury is why he batted right-handed. I find it tedious and boring, the home run derby. It does nothing for me anymore. When somehow Kyle Schwarber lost to Albert Pujols, people speculating he tanked to let Pujols win. I have no idea. Maybe he just had a bad day. Maybe he didn't care. I don't know. People were so worked up about this on Twitter last night. I don't know if she was kidding, but I think I saw Steph Curry's wife, I believe, going bananas. Like, who cares? Well, and trust me, I get worked up about some of the dumbest crap ever. But I don't know why anybody's worked up at Albert Pujols that maybe Kyle Schwarber tanked. I don't think he did. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't really care what happened. The home run derby, though, stinks. But I saw, I got to bring up the tweet. I saw an interesting tweet that, so this is from Ted Berg. I don't know who Ted is, but he does a podcast. I give him some love, this guy, because I like this tweet. I don't know. There's a podcast out of New York. Maybe it's about the Mets. Yeah, it's about the Mets. The Metrospective, a show about the Mets. So shout out to him. It's a podcast that he does. I don't know the guy, but so Ted Berg. So he tweeted a really cool thing, and I totally agree with him. He says, past home run derby winners should be automatically invited back, like it's the Masters or whatever, so Yoenis Cespedes can enter every year. Also, they should all get special jackets. We could see all these great home runs. It would be kind of cool if you saw, like, maybe put them in the seniors division, maybe have them compete against the young guys. I don't know, but, like, they need something, some spark. Somebody on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show the other day suggested chugging a beer before they do this. I mean, do something. Let's chug the beer. Because to me, the home run derby is beyond boring. And you know what? When I was a kid, I loved the MLB All-Star Game. I loved the NBA All-Star Game. I tolerated the Pro Bowl. I didn't watch hockey. No offense to the hockey All-Star Game, but I didn't watch it. I still don't watch the hockey All-Star Game. Maybe great, but I don't watch it. The Pro Bowl has gone from tolerable to absolutely dreadful. The NBA All-Star Game, I went from liking it to now I completely dislike it. And even the Baseball All-Star Game, which probably still remains the best of the bunch, stinks. I have totally lost interest in All-Star games, and I'm curious from you folks, am I alone here? Am I out to lunch? I mean, do people love the NBA All-Star Game? I would much rather see in basketball a 3-on-3 competition. I would much rather see baseball players playing a flag football game or Pro Bowlers in football playing a flag football game. I'd rather see they used to do a show back in the day called Battle of the Network Stars, and these guys would do like Olympic events and compete against each other. I'd rather see these guys do anything but their current sport. It's boring. The NBA All-Star Game, nobody plays defense. It's just a bunch of chucking. Baseball, I don't know. Games, I love baseball, but I don't love it as much as I used to. I've been saying that lately. And then, the Pro Bowl, it is what it is. And what it is absolute trash. This is the worst week in sports. Is anybody looking forward to watching the ESPYs? Eesh. Not good. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. Just want to say a couple things before I go. Number one, please subscribe to our the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube page. On the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show YouTube page, you will have everything we've produced on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, including full 2-hour-plus episodes of the show and clips of the show. But you will also have full access to this podcast, The Bullpen with Adam the Bull. If you go to the playlist tab, you'll find all my podcasts since we started a few weeks ago. So please subscribe and hit the little bell there to get alerts. Our goal is to get to 11,000 subscribers by the end of July. We're about 900-something away, so we need another 900-something in the next 2 weeks. I think we can get there. Follow me on Twitter, please. Here you go. If you're not following me already, I'll throw this up there. At Adam the Bull. There it is. How about I put this there too? Ooh, got some flowers for you. Follow me on Twitter at Adam the Bull. Follow the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show on Twitter as well. Make sure you check out the Locked On Browns podcast with my guy G. Bush and Jeff Lloyd. And also make sure you, if you're looking to have a video done, check me out on Cameo. I love making those Cameo videos. I've been ripping guys for being bad at fantasy football lately. Birthday wishes, whatever. You could hire me to do some other things. I could even marry you. In the right case, go to Book the Bull. Go to the Book the Bull tab on adamthebull.com. That's it for today. I'll talk to you again tomorrow right here in the bullpen with Adam the Bull.